Ahoy and welcome. Today we got round 2, AsuiKitsune versus Captain Dad. Still over here at Game-O-Storus, so big thank you for them letting me come in today to record a couple of matches. This is round 2 from the previous video. Actually, I believe this is actually round 3 or 4. I met up here with my friend AsuiKitsune, aka Jake in real life, and we paired up in the last couple of rounds, as we typically do at some of these local gatherings. He's definitely become one of my formidable rivals, as he is a very good player, and if we don't play each other in the first couple of rounds, we seem to see each other in the last couple of rounds. Stalwart Poro coming down early. First mate coming down for Captain Dad. We've got the Poro moving into the Grove of the God Willow. Rapid fire on today's game. We've played a few matches together, so we have a little bit of experience with our play styles and our play patterns. Getting on to some of the information here. Grove of the God Willow out for Ahri player here. And Monastery of Harana out for Lee Sin player. Battlefields. Looks like we got a challenge going down, excuse me. Challenging first mate into the Stalwart Poro, so that way he doesn't get a shield buff. Looks like Jake's going to respond with On Guard, +2. Pop that Poro's Might up to 4. 4 versus 3 would give him an advantage. Captain Dad responding with Discipline back, +2. To win the trade at the moment, +1 Might for the first mate. Another Discipline back for Jake. A lot of interaction already here on just this second or third turn. And finally, we have, is he going to play On Guard? No, it looks like we're going to go with Defy here. Let's see if I can find the right card. My goodness. A little trouble trying to figure out which card he wants to play after declaring he wanted to counter it. I have definitely made a few mistakes in this game, and looking back on it, it's always fun to see where you can do better. A little aggressive. Don't know if we needed to go in for that battlefield, as drawing one card to a card or two isn't the worst thing in the world. But thought over it pretty aggressively, still the same. Looks like Ahri is going to come out on from her champion zone. Ahri Inquisitive. And a Foxfire to deal with the first mate at the battlefield. And Foxfire. Kill any number of units at a battlefield with total might 4 or less. Nice little battlefield wipe. And with that, we'll get the first mate off that. No extra points and no card draw for Captain Dad here. 1-1 at the moment. Battlefields are clear. I think we're going to take a turn to rebuild here. Got the Arena Bar coming out. Stalwart Poro coming out for Captain Dad. And that Arena Bar is going to be activated to buff the exhausted friendly unit. Passing it back to Jake. I think it's very fitting that Kitsune is playing the Foxfire. Playing Ninetales Ahri Fox. Moving Ahri up into the Grove of the God Willow. It's going to give us 2 points. Backing it up with the Ravenbloom Student. And leaving himself up plenty of energy to interact with. And if I'm not careful, this sly fox will have me walking the plank. Plenty of runes available going into this next turn. Let's see what Lee Sin can do this turn. Looks like we're going to spend 5 energy there. Use 1 power, bring in the Lee Sin from the champion zone. And we're going to go ahead and use the Arena Bar, give him the early buff. Come into the Monastery with Stalwart. On that point, Conquer, we're going to go ahead and spend the buff, draw a card. And looks like we might have one more play here. And legend ability coming down to buff again. Effectively putting up Lee Sin's might to 7 there. Passing back, awakening everything, scoring that 3rd point of the game. Oh, looks like we see that Thousand Tail Washer drawn by Asui. Coming down this turn with a Sprite Mother. Thinking he's going to play it in the battlefield. Remembering that here trigger on the token. Deciding to go ahead and play it at the base instead. And as I expect, he's got some fun interaction here to bring in to the Monastery of Hirana. Starting things off, stupefying on the Poro. Bring his might down to 1. And that should allow a pretty clean kill here. Sprite token comes in. Shield does take effect, bringing up the Stalwart's might to 2. But without further interaction, that Sprite token was going to win with a 1-point advantage in the might. Taking a 4th point, passing it back to Captain Dad. Very explosive deck out of Ahri. Really good early game, and having that Watcher in hand is a good feeling for late game. Looks like we're going to start this turn off here with a Pit Rookie, targeting Lee Sin for a buff, also activating Legend ability for that 3rd energy. Throwing a 2nd buff on for Lee this turn. Already up to 9 might. And I can tell I'm just not sure what I should be doing on this line, whether I should be trying to attack into the Grove of the God Willow or the Monastery. Got a few different lines with a couple of charms in hand, it looks like. You tell me, what would you do here in this situation? Looks like we got On Guard, 2 charms in hand. Looks like we're going to decide to bring him into the Monastery of Hirana. Wins that combat, no interaction. Spending a buff on Conquer. Drawing card, going up to 3 points. And coming down with a first mate to the base, targeting Lee Sin. This right here, I believe, would be a smart time to retreat, as having as much, being as late in the game as we are here, I should have probably defended a little bit more, been a little bit more weary of trying to keep the Lee Sin alive. Charming in Ahri into Lee Sin. Using the arena bar to add another buff. Yeah, all of that seems pretty okay. We just, instead of tapping Lee Sin to add the buff, we probably should have just let these interactions go through and then retreated him back to base as he was untapped from first mate. I think that's a better play, to be truthfully honest. Let's see what happens here. Charm in for the 2nd. That's one way to deal with that battlefield. Yeah, the other alternative would have been to do all the interactions for the buffs and then attack into the Grove of the God Willow with On Guard. That effectively would have put him up to 12 might, -3 from Ahri leader power and her legend and hero powers, and still allowed him to stay alive with some interactions. Oh, but here comes Thousand Tail Watcher, the first time of many that you'll see me get wrecked by this card. -3, dropping it down to 7, and with the discipline buff, 9 versus 7, Thousand Tail Watcher is going to win that battlefield, going up to 5 points. 1 mana open, 1 energy available. We're going to move the Sprite Mother into the Grove of the God Willow, score that 6th point. Set up for a really good end of game here, it looks like, for Jake. Passing back to Captain Dad. Looks like we drew a Defy. Little counter spell would have been great for a turn earlier. But alas, as in most card games, a turn late or a mana short does nothing for you. Starting off the turn, first mate buff from the legend. Throwing first mate up in Grove of the God Willow. On guard, +1. Effectively bringing first mate's power up to 5, -1 with legend Ahri, allowing him, to beat the battlefield, being backed up by a her in the pit rookie. There we are. And passing it back, we got Jake going up to 7 points. If he can find a way to clear out that second battlefield, should be a pretty easy win for him on this one. If not, Captain Dad might get another turn. But with a Thousand Tail Watcher in hand,
Do it again on the other side.
there we go. Going to game 2. All right, welcome back to round 2. AsuiKitsune versus Captain Dad. We got Targon's Peak coming out for the Ahri player. Dreaming Tree coming out for Lee Sin. And looks like Captain Dad is letting AsuiKitsune go first. And turn 1, Stalwart Poro coming down. Beautiful turn 1. Probably the best turn 1 play you can have, in my opinion. Just such a good little boy. Does good little work. Passing it over to Captain Dad. Looks like he's going to use all 3 of his energy. Playing into Arena Bar. Going to go ahead and try to get some extra buff utility set up early. Looks like Jake's going to draw a Singularity. Oh, sideboard piece. Feels good. Setting up early, moving the Stalwart Poro into Targon's Peak. Targon's is going to allow him to ready some energy at the end of the turn, a couple extra runes. He brings in the Ahri Inquisitive from the Champion Zone. And Targon Peak trigger, allowing him to have all of his energy runes available. Spinning the card around, letting Captain Dad read the Inquisitive. Ahri, looking at that altar art. I must admit, the altar art Lee is the reason why I'm playing Lee Sin. Sunlit Guardian coming down for Captain Dad over here. And you can tell I'm just not quite sure what I should be doing here. What's the right line? I think we're going to go ahead and play a Stalwart Pour over here ourselves. Using the Arena Bar to buff the Sunlit Guardian. Passing back to Jake. Looks like he's going to go up to 2 points on his hold. While we're here, if you've made it this far, be sure to give it a like. Maybe throw a comment. What's been your favorite play so far? We have a huge play coming up here. Don't want to spoil it too much, but let's get ready to see what happens. Ahri moving up into the Dreaming Tree, scoring up a 3rd point off the Caulker. Lecturing Yordle coming down on the battlefield with Ahri, Dreaming Tree. Give her a little backup. Looks like Jake's come out to another explosive lead. 3 points to 0 already. Passing it back to Captain Dad. And these smaller units just feel like they can do nothing against Ahri sometimes. Having that -1 might on attack. Really a difficult position to be in. Does Captain Dad even stand a chance? What can he do to come back from this? Looks like we're going to use the 5 energy runes there to bring in Lee Sin from his champion zone. Arena Bar, going to buff him up 1 time already. And again, I think I'm just being too aggressive here, feeling like I can't get too far behind, even though I think Lee Sin is probably favored in the later end of the game here. If you get him big enough to defend against the Thousand Tail Watcher, or at least large enough to have some extra defenders with him, some extra units with him, and maybe a little interaction, I think that's the better way to play. We start this off here trying to challenge Lee Sin into the Ahri. 6 might versus 3. But what does Jake have? That is a smoke screen. That is a blowout, ladies and gentlemen. That is a feels bad man. No luck for Captain Dad. Looks like we're going to push in here. Sunlit Guardian with a buff. Stalwart Poro with a shield. It's going to be an even trade. Captain Dad coming in with his second Stalwart Poro, allowing him to at least get on the board. Definitely not feeling great, but Targon's trigger at the end of turn. Ready 2 runes. Passing it back to Jake. Looks like we're going to put him up to 4 points already. And yeah, you can hear me saying it in the background there. I'm pretty astonished that I didn't think about smokescreen. Ravenbloom student coming back to the base. Lecturing Yordle, getting moved back just before that. Ahri holding up the Dreaming Tree. Just to provide a little bit of pressure. Keeping up 4 runes. Just difficult to work around. One, two, three, four, 5. There's a second Lee Sin. Hey, we have a chance. Repeat the same thing we did last turn. Lee Sin with Arena Bar. And we're going to move back the Stalwart Poro, try to keep him safe. Using Legend ability Lee to buff the hero champion Lee. Normally at 7 might, you got to be feeling okay. But as we said earlier, we know Jake is holding on to a singularity, so I believe he just drew Stupefy. Yeah, that's what you're going to play. Yes, sir. Stupefy, knocking Lee Sin down to 6 might. Setting himself up perfectly for a singularity here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, sir. There it is. That's a board wipe in this situation. Great job, man. Great job, dude. And you can tell I'm just in astonishment here. 2 units is what I say. Bringing up Ravenbloom student into Targon's Peak, scoring up to 6 points. And passing back turn. Targon trigger, allowing him to have 3 runes available. Controlling both battlefields at 6 points. Nothing on my battlefield feels pretty good for him. Probably not much left in this game, I'd say. 3 energy, recycling 2 power. Hey, Holden. I think we get a little footage of him here coming up in the next few casts. He's a great player as well. Kraken Hunter coming down for Captain Dad. Paying the extra energy and recycling the additional orange rune to play it accelerated. Now I know that it does have Assault here. Let's double check. Yeah, Assault 1 as an attacker, get an additional 1. So with the buff, we're at 6. With Assault, it should put him up to 7. With Ahri, Leader, and Hero, it's going to be -3. Putting him down to 4 might, essentially, versus Ahri's 3. Move the Kraken Hunter into the battlefield. And looks like Jake's going to respond here, using all of his available runes, playing Foxfire. There we go, kill any number of units, total of might 4 or less. Defy, countering the Foxfire signature spell. Allowing Kraken Hunter to win the battlefield conquer point. Ahri goes to the graveyard. Not sure if we should play the hidden Stand United, it looks like. That's the decision we're trying to make. And no, deciding it's not worth it. And going up to 7 points, looks like Jake should be able to take this if he could just reinforce his battlefield strong enough. Yes, there's a second Ravenbloom student. And a Sprite Mother. Moving up his Lecturing Yordle just for good measure. Passing turn back to Captain Dad. Looks like we will be able to score that last point up to 4. But nothing short of a Watcher is going to be able to do anything in this situation, I don't believe. And if you don't play blue, you don't get to play Watcher. Awesome. Good job, good job. Great game. That was an awesome blowout, Jake. Congratulations on your win. I'm going to watch out for you next time. Never going to forget that smoke screen. All right, so in closing, I just want to thank everybody for joining me in this game. Thank you, Game-O-Storus, here in Largo, Florida, for letting us play. And yes, Captain Dad, there is nothing else you can do. Throw the fist, give him the GGs. Let's end this one with some style. What do you say? What do you say? There it is. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. And if Riftbound is your kind of thing, feel free to drop a subscription, maybe a comment or a like below. Plan to get these videos released a little bit more consistent now that the new year started. Look forward to seeing you next time.